This is Garlic Johnson, the hostess with the mostest, and you're listening to the Hidden Oaks Overdose Football Fix.
Good evening, everybody. I am one of your lovely hostesses, the Panic Man Walters, and joining me tonight is the other lovely hostess, the Joshua Mitchell. You are listening to the Hidden Oaks Overdose Football Fix. Josh, say hi to the folks out there.
Hi, Al.
Yes, indeed. Hi, Al. And before we move on to anything else, I have a special announcement. This one thing that I have to get out of the way. Okay, Brian, it's okay. Don't worry. Garlic is not here. He won't be here. And he will be back next week. So don't worry. Okay, moving on to our regular announcements. I'll just start again from the top. This is the Hidden Oaks Overdose Football Fix. I am Walters, hosting for Garlic today. You can find...
Easy, bud.
Well,
co-hosting.
Co-hosting for today. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm taking to the role of Garlic a little too much.
I didn't grow up underneath power lines and knew how to use the recording systems, then I wouldn't need a co-host. But power lines, public education, you know.
Power lines are overrated, but yeah, I totally understand. All of these segment start times are in the description below whenever Garlic uploads this to your favorite platform. We would like to thank Levi Oki for all the beautiful artwork. You can find all of his work at Levi Oki Illustration on Instagram. So if you're looking for a Christmas present or any sort of present that is, conducive to graphic art, make sure you hit him up. He does a fantastic job. I've used him many times, and so have other people. I think I hit all of them, so the last thing I need to say is, Josh, how ya doing?
How doing? How are you? I almost called you Gar just because of the habit. How are you doing, Walters?
I'm doing fine, thank you. I'm glad to be here again for the second Saturday in a row, hosting one of my favorite podcasts to listen to. So always a great time. Thanks for having me back. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, not a problem.
Did you have
anything fun today?
Oh, well, I went to...
Beat you to it.
Dang it. I went to Riverdale today to do a little bit of Christmas shopping with the wifey, and then we sat down and had some coffee at Panera. I hung out with Audio Al last night. We were going through some beat making stuff and showing him my new piano that I got for Christmas from myself. Thank you. How about you? Did you do anything fun this weekend so far?
Well, I worked today, which was, as everybody knows, just the absolute best thing you could possibly do on a Saturday that you typically don't work. But I had volunteered for an event a couple months ago to get kudos with my management, not realizing that, if I volunteered to attend an event, that I actually probably should attend the event. So that was fun. But then I went over to Nikita's family's house, and they were making some Christmas cookies, so I enjoyed that opportunity with them for a bit, and then came home and sat here at the computer staring at notes for the past 3 hours waiting for you to say you're ready.
That sounds like a lot of fun. Are you doing anything tomorrow football related since the Packers are not playing tomorrow?
Probably just scouting for the Rams. I guess Thursday night was the Rams game, but so I scouted there. Probably just watched some film so I could send it over to the other owners. Since I'm an honorary owner, they don't make me pay any fees. Just to see, what we're going up against, what we have coming, and getting ready for playoffs.
NFL playoffs or fantasy playoffs?
NFL. Playoffs. Packers are going to make it. Don't worry. And if they don't, then NFL asterisk season. So,
pardon me. I should know this being a fantasy football host, but the Packers are not officially dead yet. Is that correct?
That is correct. They could be dead on Monday, I believe, if a few teams win and a few teams lose and a few things happen. But as of this moment, when this podcast is being recorded, they are not dead.
Very interesting. So technically, got it. All right. So that I think that's going to be enough chit chat for right now. So why don't we go ahead and get into our start and sit here? Josh, why don't you kind of go over what happened last week?
Well, I really can't go over a whole lot because, as you've already alluded to, you had filled in for me while I was gone, and it is obvious with the results. You and Garlic put your half brains together to come up with a total of 1 out of 4 correct answers. And then, yes, it was 1 out of 4 because I am not going to allow you to count a win when you picked Kittle over Njoku when Njoku was not playing. So nice try, bud.
Okay.
But and it was, Zamir Knight and Kyron Williams. That's just, good job picking a guy who's a starter and a guy who's, third string on the roster, gets 3 carries. So that was the only one that you guys got right. But so you guys got negative 13.45 overall. As a podcast with everybody, all the celebrity shots, it's 3864 positive 134.43. So we're still in the green here. But that week last week was I threw up in my mouth when I read it.
Yeah. Looking at the FanDuel hood, the 22 hood long play along challenge, seeing my name down at the bottom there, even was not good. So all this talking up about how good I am at fantasy football and people should be listening to me, it couldn't have slapped me harder in the face. So it was a reality check. And even if you have a string of, 6 or 7 good weeks, it doesn't mean you're a fantasy god, and that all fantasy advice should be taken with a grain of salt.
You're welcome.
You're welcome. So we're going to get her started off. The first category that we have here is Dolphin Boys. Our first one is Tua at the Los Angeles Chargers, and then Dak Prescott versus Houston. Who do you like between these two?
I'm leaning Tua. Juicier matchup, I feel. They're going to be throwing the ball a little bit more. That tends to be where that offense goes first, just because their running backs have been a revolving door of trash cans. And so I feel like that game could be more potential for a shootout, whereas Houston is the epitome of dumpsters. And, Dak, that offense is kind of more balanced. Dak has been doing well since he's been back, but if they get any sort of lead, they'll probably lean on that run game. Plus, Houston's secondary isn't necessarily the worst. And if you look at the scores, doesn't necessarily tell the whole true story on how they're doing, just because last week they gave up 3 defensive /special teams touchdowns. So points against is not necessarily the best determiner of that secondary.
I would have to agree with you on that one. I'm really liking Tua just because from like a defensive standpoint, the Chargers aren't really that good. So I'm in with Houston. Like I said last week, most people, once they get up 2 scores, they just pound the rocks. So I think Tua's ceiling is a lot higher. So I'm happy to go with that one. Our next category that we have is Deep League Trash. That would be Kareem Hunt, running back, at Cincinnati, or DJ Dallas versus Carolina. Yuck. And Josh, who do you got?
I have been a Hunt fan for a while. I think that he is a solid running back. They just haven't been giving him the rock that much this year. And then DJ, who knows if he even, I don't know if he's questionable, or because I know Walker is, but so it sounds like he's a game time decision, but I don't remember if it's DJ or the 3rd or 4th running back in Seattle that's also questionable. But both of these. Yeah, Travis, Home, whatever.
Yeah.
Deep League Trash is the reason. I'm going to go Hunt just because I feel like he is a little bit more viable, or a little bit more reliable, and a little bit more game planned into that offense. So I'm leaning Hunt, but sway me if you can.
I mean, so do we have to specifically stick with DJ? Because I thought DJ was having injury issues this week and might not actually play. That's what I was hearing this week. I'm trying to look here on our ESPN website here, but I haven't been able to pull them up yet. If we were to say any of the Seattle running backs, I would say Seattle over Kareem Hunt, but probably Hunt, just because I don't know about DJ Dallas's injury standpoint at this particular moment at the time of recording. I'm still trying to pull him up. I'm not as fast at this. Let's see here.
Yeah, it looks like Travis Homer is in line to start.
Yeah, I think he is. Like, if we were to do Kareem Hunt versus Travis Homer, I would much more prefer Travis Homer over Kareem Hunt. But if DJ Dallas is going to be serving as the backup, or even if he's playing,
Yeah, it's a game time decision. So let's back off on this one. Instead of Kareem Hunt instead of DJ Dallas, let's go with Chuba Hubbard in Carolina.
Is Deontay Foreman playing?
I believe so.
I still like Kareem Hunt over Deontay. No, over who did you? Chuba Hubbard.
Yep.
Gross.
That's why it's called trash, Walters.
Oh my gosh. I'm just pulling up his stats here. Like in a standard league, he has been fantasy irrelevant since week 7, where he had 13.3 fantasy points, and every other week he has literally been terrible. With Kareem Hunt, it seems like it's been pretty close to the same.
That's because you're looking at the wrong scoring system. Standard leagues are
subpar and dead. Let's see here. He has been getting attempts lately. I like Kareem Hunt more for sure, just because of the number of attempts that I think he can have. Plus, we still don't know if Big Stupid Doo-Doo Head is going to be good at football or not, so they might be pounding the rock a lot more. So I like Kareem Hunt in this setting here.
All right, good. Steelers catchers is the next category. We've got George Pickens versus Baltimore, or Deontay Johnson versus Baltimore. Hence the title.
Yeah, I'm much more. I like Pickens right now much more than I like Deontay Johnson. Just because of I thought that there was an injury concern that popped up. No, maybe he's been cleared. Let's see here. I'm taking a look.
He's been cleared.
No, he has been cleared. All right. So the last few weeks, he's had 11 and 8 targets. Catches. What did he have? 5 receptions the last 2 weeks. Let's take a look at Pickens real quick.
Pickens has had 6 targets, 2 targets in the last 3 games. And he's had 18.3, 10.7, and 1.2 in the past 3 games.
I'm going to go with Deontay Johnson still. I mean, for me, I just think that if you're demanding most of the target share, that means the quarterback's going to be looking your way some more than Pickens. So for me, if the quarterback's going to be looking my way first, I'm going to be taking that player. I know that being the better player, you're going to garner more attention from the defense, and I don't think the Baltimore defense is anything to scoff at. But I still do like the floor of Deontay more than I like the ceiling of Pickens. You can sway me, though. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, no, that's fine. I mean, I agree. Target share is definitely in Deontay's favor. Pickens probably has more big play possibilities just because he's always open. He's had some spectacular catches. But yeah, I'll go Deontay just for the volume of it all.
Okay, I like that.
Up next, we have Purple Butts. That is TJ Hawkinson at Detroit or Mark Andrews at Pittsburgh.
Is Andrews, is he like completely healthy?
He has diabetes, so no.
Oh man. Yeah. My gosh. Oh, geez.
He had 7 targets last week, so I'm guessing he's healthy.
Yeah. I'm going to go with him just because I want to say Andrews, because he's going to, I think he can get a lot more target share than what TJ Hawkinson can, just because the Baltimore Ravens don't really have any wide receivers right now that are commanding targets. You have who is supposed to be right behind?
Duvernay?
Yeah, Duvernay. You have Duvernay, and then there was one other one too. I'm taking a look here. Demarcus Robinson. So you have those two that are playing right now, but other than that, I don't see anybody else who's really going to be demanding targets. So I like Mark Andrews in that sense that he is going to be getting more. Hawkinson, on the other hand, this is his revenge game. I don't really know how what is the defensive rank for the Detroit? They are 30th.
Yep, and so Detroit's defensive rank is 30th compared to Pittsburgh. And I'm guessing they're top 10 still, especially with TJ back. Detroit has been giving up points left and right. It's a revenge game. Minnesota's defense is also porous. They have literally given up the most yards. I don't know. I read a stat somewhere. It's like the 1-12 Jets and the 10-2 Vikings have like the exact same number of yards given up. So they give up a lot of yards. Difference points per game is a little bit lower for Minnesota, which is why they're getting their wins. So they do give up yards. So it's potentially give up points, which means Hawkinson is going to have more opportunity. They're going to try and take away Justin Jefferson. And like you said, revenge game. I'm leaning Hawkinson, and that's as somebody who has shares in Anders in a lot of leagues as well.
Yeah, I mean, I can agree with all of that. Yeah, I mean, that was enough to sway me. I would be okay with going with Hawkinson.
Perfect. Typed it in, can't change it. It's in permanent typing ink.
Sick. All right, so big flex. So we're talking Stephon Diggs versus New York Jets, and I'm assuming you're saying Derrick Henry versus Jacksonville. Is that correct?
Yes. I do not think I would consider Hunter Henry on the same level as Diggs.
Okay. Oh, man. How is the Jacksonville run defense? Is that any good?
Mediocre.
Because right away, like when I think about it, I immediately want to say, give me Derrick Henry and then some. The last few weeks, Derrick Henry has been posting shitty yard totals. The last 2 weeks has been 30 and 38. Last week he finished with 3.8 fantasy points in non-PPR, but the week before he did have double-digit points. He is the running back 2 on the year. Let's just take a look at Stephon. He is, if you ask me, probably the number 1 wide receiver in football this year statistically, or is that your guy Devontae? It's got to be your guy Devontae. I'm gonna go with Hunter. Or I'm gonna go with Henry on this one, just because I know that the Jets' defense, especially in their secondary, is really good. They're 3rd in the league as of right now, and he's gonna garner a lot of attention. So with Henry, he is literally the only option right now, in my opinion, in Tennessee. So if I was to flex between Diggs and Henry, I'd probably go Henry. What are your thoughts?
Well, obviously, this is meant to be kind of a tough decision on the opposite end of the spectrum as the running back decision we made earlier. Both of them solid plays. If you had both of them, you're not going to sit both, or you're not going to sit one. But if you're looking for that kind of big play in dollar leagues and whatever FanDuel leagues, these guys could potentially be a little bit more spendy, and you'd only want one. Diggs has the tougher matchup by far. Henry being the only option in an offense that has been a little bit slow to catch on with the pass, kind of makes me hesitant, just because they'll stack the box against Henry, and Henry's had a couple down weeks, so maybe they have some tape that figures some stuff out that we haven't. That being said, Henry's probably due for a couple tutters, but Diggs has, the past few weeks in PPR, he has scored 25, 15, 22, and 22. He's on a 3-game touchdown streak, and he's gotten in that 15-point game that was sprinkled in there, he only had 5 targets, but he's had, 16, 5, 15, and 9. So he's still getting his targets. He'll still get his targets against the Jets. It's a division game, so who knows what happens. Well, both of them are division games, I guess.
Yeah.
So I guess I'm fine with going Henry, just because I'd feel like a doo-doo head if I picked against Henry, and then I had Diggs as my FanDuel Bust of the Week spoiler. And so, yeah, I'm going to go with Henry as well.
I'm just taking a quick look here because Stephon Diggs, last time they played the New York Jets, he had 9.7 fantasy points in standard scoring. And last time that Derrick Henry played Jacksonville, if they've already played them, they may not have. No, they have not yet. So it's hard to say if. But yeah, no, I still think that Derrick Henry is probably the right play here. So if you're good with Henry, I'm good with Henry.
Yep. All right. Moving on. FanDuel favorites. I noticed blanks. Walters, do you have any?
Yeah, last week I suggested Justin Herbert, and he did really doo-doo. Like, really, really doo-doo. But I'm almost willing to go back to that well again because I don't know if last week, if it just didn't happen, but this week he is supposed to have all of his weapons back, if I believe. Like, Mike Williams should be back this week, right?
I don't care.
And you don't care. Well, I still think that. Otherwise, my pivot, and I guess I'll go with this guy. I'm going to go with Kirk Cousins, 7,500, going up against Detroit.
OU.
Yeah, I'm trying to spell here. I went with Kirk Cousins, 7,500 against Detroit. Detroit's got a terrible defense. This game is supposed to have a high over-under. So I'm assuming there are going to be a lot of fantasy points had here. So Kirk Cousins at 7,500, I think he is definitely going to be able to get you a top. He will be a top 12 quarterback this week for sure. Who do you have at the quarterback position this week, or do you just have one? Like one player?
I don't. Yep. I don't go through each position on this one. I just pick one because it says if you read the parentheses, it says at least one.
Okay.
I'm doing the minimum here.
Gotcha.
I went with good old Ayuk and Rally. Brandon Ayuk in San Fran. He's 6,700. He had plenty of targets last week. I believe it was 9. He's there. Debo gets his, but I would say that they're 1A, 1B when it comes to target share. Kittle has been getting, his sprinkling in there as well, but for 6,700, it's not, breaking the bank. So if he does get 7 targets, 5 catches for, 70 yards and a tud, I'd be happy. So that's where I'm leaning for my favorite of the week. And so I don't know. I see a comma next to yours. Are you going to go through each position? Or are you going to torture us like that? Or
no, I was essentially just going to do a quarterback, running back, and wide receiver, but we don't have to do that. So
okay,
no, we're not going to do that.
FanDuel Bust of the Week, and this is not the bust for the Hall of Fame, so it's not going to be the super favorite. This is going to be the dumpster, the underperformer. I'll let you go first on this one, even though you went first on the last one.
Yeah, sure. I'm going to say that Patrick Mahomes going up against Denver, 8,800 for the third best defense is not something that really excites me. I understand that Patrick Mahomes is elite and that he is always putting up fantasy points. I believe he is the quarterback 1 on the season. If not, he's number 2. But for me, I'm looking to bring my money somewhere else. I'm willing to pony up somewhere else and, essentially go with a cheaper option like a Kirk Cousins instead of going with Patrick Mahomes. Who do you have for your bust of the week, Josh?
Well, as I alluded to in that big flex segment of the start sits, I have Stephon Diggs as the bust, mainly because he's 8,500, so it's a pretty penny to spend on a wide receiver going up against a solid pass defense, most likely going to have Sauce Gardner covering him. And Sauce has been doing pretty solid as a rookie. So is Diggs a good player? Yeah. Is he going to get some solid points? Probably. But is it going to be worth spending that $8,500? Is he going to end up on the top 3 players of the week? Probably not. That's just my way of looking at things. So I would be willing to cut my costs at wide receiver for somebody cheaper with a higher upside than Diggs this week and use my money elsewhere.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. There are a lot of wide receivers, in my opinion, that I think you can get at a pretty good price for that have more upside than Stephon Diggs does this week. So a lot riskier to play, but definitely there is a world out there where you do not have to have Stephon Diggs in your lineup to make it into the top 3 this week. Okay, we can move on. Is there anything else that you want to say? Anything FanDuel related, or we can move on?
Yeah, we can move on.
Okay, sounds good. All right, moving on. I'm just writing down this segment time here. Moving on to our weekly preview. What would you like to cover first? Do you have any waiver wire stuff that you want to talk about, storylines, or would you like to get right into your Hidden Oaks Overdose football league? I'm sorry, your Hidden Oaks redraft league. Would you like to get into playoff scenarios first, or what do you have on the docket for our weekly preview?
Waiver wire, I haven't looked. I mean, that's a 14-team league that we're in, so the waiver wire is pretty sparse. There is, some guys out there that might be worth adding, for tight end positions because they're going to get you more than Foster Moreau got you on Thursday night in your starting lineup, such as Zero. I'm not going to name any names, dumbass Josh. But tight ends is just a landscape of doo-doo this season, so that's fun. So I don't really care about the waiver wire. As far as storylines go, we kind of hinted at it on the last show about kind of where the standings are. It looks like the top 6 of 7 spots have been locked up. Maybe not the seeding, because we have 2 tied at 1, and then the potential of our 4th place team could jump up into 1st because we do have the doubleheader weeks. So but then like 5 and 6 are pretty much locked in their spots, or in those 2. But then the 7th seed is potential between 5 teams. It looks like there are 5 teams in the running for that 7th seed here going into the last week. It's Brian's to lose. Garlic does have a shot on the outside chance that he, everybody above him loses. He wins and he outscores somebody by 90. So it's never say never. He's not dead yet. Cue the Gerby. I'm not eliminated. I'm not.
I don't have that one available. I'm sorry.
I know, it's fine. But yeah, so it's coming down to the wire for that last playoff spot. And then it's coming down to the wire for the bye, it looks like, for 4 teams.
Yeah, I see it's you, and then someone named Cup of Tea and Running Up That Hill, who is essentially in the running for that bye week right now. Just for to pull the curtain back, can you tell us what Garlic's team name is in your redraft league?
It's Jefferson Starship.
Oh, it is Jefferson Starship. Okay. Oh, he's way down there. Yikes.
Yeah, he's one of those ones that you got to wear one of those carpal tunnel hand things just so you don't get it when you scroll down to find his team. To his defense, he drafted during the draft. He literally complained about every pick, like, I hate this team. And at the time, most people agreed. He did have a few picks that ended up being some solid options, like Saquon and Justin Jefferson was. I mean, obviously, he's not been too shabby. But then after that, it was Kyle Pitts, Brandon Cooks.
Was that the draft that I was the sticker person for?
I believe so.
Okay. Yeah. No, I mean, and then he got shafted by Nikita a few times because he decided to wait on quarterback, and she pounced at the opportunity to snipe a quarterback from him a couple times. So I thought that was great.
And she's held that quarterback the entire time because it was Kirk Cousins, and now Lamar's hurt, so now she has her fill-in.
Ooh, I bet Garlic's not mad about that whatsoever. So.
Yep.
On.
Not at all. Yeah, she was also mad at me because I told her to take Tony Pollard over Ramondre Stevenson. And first few weeks of the season, Pollard wasn't doing a whole lot. Ramondre was doing okay. And I do want to point out, since you'll probably listen to this later, right now, Ramondre is ranked 8 and Pollard is ranked 9. So, we did fine. We did just fine doing it how we did, because I know Garlic really wanted Pollard as well, and he sniped him from him. And then I still get Ramondre. So we win.
Let's go. Real quick, if you, for some silly reason, if you had both Zeke and Pollard, would you feel comfortable starting them this week? Both of them? Would you start them both in the same lineup?
I did adopt a dynasty league in which that is the case. I have both of them. But no, I will not be starting both of them. I have Pollard in my lineup and not Zeke.
Okay. Do you think that the only reason Zeke has been relevant these last few weeks is because he's found the end zone, and essentially when he stops finding the end zone, he will just become irrelevant again? Is that essentially it?
Essentially, yeah. Anything, that offense is pretty high powered, and they showed it last week when they put up 33 in the fourth quarter. But yeah, Zeke has had, just over 50% snap share. Most games since I guess 50 the last two. And then he had 29 against Minnesota and then 50 against Detroit. And then mid 60s for the first 6 weeks of the season. So Pollard has kind of eaten into his target or into his share, but Zeke is still getting 15 carries a game, which he's been able to do solid work with, averaging almost 4.5 yards per carry or more the past 2 games. So he's not necessarily dead, but he's fighting it. He's like an infant trying to fight sleep.
Okay, that's all fair analysis. I have one last thing that I want to ask you, and I don't know if you have anything else that you want to talk about with this weekly preview segment, but for most of us, week 15 next week will be the first round of our playoffs, Josh. And is there any players that you are keeping an eye on, whether it's someone who maybe already be on your roster or someone on the waiver wire that you are going to be watching to see if they are going to be worthy of perhaps making a starting lineup in the fantasy playoffs? Is there anything interesting or any players interesting like that you've been secretly, quietly keeping your eye on?
Well, Walters, if I wanted to keep it a secret and use it to my advantage, I wouldn't be sharing on this podcast that's so widely listened to. But I've also, thinking about that is it kind of, depending on how the season shakes up, if there's some leagues that I'm confident I'm making the playoffs in, I've probably already done that sort of looking around, trying to find a juicy matchup with an RB2 or a wide receiver that's a little bit younger, just to add to my roster to see if he does take that jump. So if you're starting that research now, you're already 3 weeks behind, bud.
Yeah, no, I mean, I've
not talking to you in general. That was not a shot at you. That was just for all the listener out there. If you're trying to take that advice now, you're already 3 weeks behind.
Yeah, I was just looking for content, something to chew on, something to talk about. So that's all good. But you are correct. If you are in line to be making the playoffs, Josh said it beautifully. You should have been looking 3 weeks ago because, well, now is just too late, because anybody who is in a running for a playoff spot has been on the hunt for waiver pickups to add to their playoff roster. So I think you echoed your point very well. So I don't have really necessarily anything else. Is there anything else that you want to share or talk about? Are there any games that you're looking forward to watching tomorrow? I may have already asked this question, but I have ADHD and I'm thinking about too many things at once to remember anything. So.
No, you didn't ask me. No, I don't. It's football. To me, it's a stress-free week because I don't have to watch the Packers prevent defense from the opening kickoff to the end of the game. So it's always, that's always kind of a relief. But yeah, so I'm looking forward to watching it. I guess the Vikings-Detroit game I'm looking forward to because division game, same division as the Packers, so that's kind of the only downside to it. But I love watching division games, especially when it's the high-powered offenses versus floundering defenses, just because then, we're always guaranteed some sort of wonkery.
Yeah, and if I remember right, the reason Minnesota won the last time these two teams met is just because Detroit completely shit the bed, dropped the ball, use whatever pun you want, but essentially they gave the game away at the end, right? Is that I can't remember. I'm trying to
I couldn't tell you.
Okay,
yeah.
That's fine.
I'm sure the refs screwed over the Lions somehow, as is tradition.
Well, aren't you happy about that? Because generally, don't you have just a general hatred for the Detroit Lions?
No.
Oh, okay. I thought you did.
Nobody does. Only if you're a football sadist, you're just anti-football. Lions are like the Detroit Lions are like the little brother that tags along to play baseball, and all your friends kind of they pitch underhand to them. That's the Detroit Lions in this league.
Okay. All right. I don't think
you root for their success until their success becomes too much, and then you just kind of tolerate it.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I don't have anything else. I think I'm going to essentially move us to the outro here. I'm just writing down a timestamp. That's not even halfway correct. That's what I wanted. Okay. I just wanted to say thank you, Josh, for allowing me to come on here again and co-host a podcast with you. It's been a lot of fun. I love talking football, and it's just nice to be able to waltz in here 5 minutes before podcast time and just say, oh, hey, look, there's the notes, and not have to really worry about anything else. So thank you for giving me the opportunity to come up here and, just share what I feel like. And, I have fun doing it. So thank you.
You're welcome. Have a great evening, Walters. Go Packers.
Go Packers. That's the wrong button. There we go. That's the right one. Wow, he couldn't have left any quicker. See ya. Gar, if you're still listening to this, all the timestamps are going to be in your notes.
Wow! That's a low price! Wow! That's a low price! Wow! That's a low price!
I'm sorry, did you say something about a low price?